What limits you? Too small, too old, insecure, broken. You have no limits. Rethink your limits.
This is the OPS pregame report.
We are live from Homestead High School just outside of a windy day here in Fort Wayne, Indiana for a showdown between Indiana and Ohio as Toledo's Notre Dame Academy invades Fort Wayne, Indiana to take on the Homestead Spartans. Welcome to Homestead Live. I'm Anthony Gary, joined alongside color broadcaster Noah Lance and silent reporter Ned DeHook as we are just under 6 minutes away from tip-off of today's game. And Noah, Homestead has played 3 out of the last 5 days, and right now you can feel like they are playing their best basketball of the year.
This team is really hitting their stride right now ever since their only loss of the season against Noblesville. They've won 4 in a row. This team is clicking together. They've got some new players in the starting lineup, but returned 4 starters, and this team is finding their stride.
Let's get into the OPS pregame show, starting by looking at that game last Tuesday. We know Homestead played last night, but we really need to put an exclamation mark on that game versus South Bend, Washington. And what a night it was for Homestead Tuesday, knocking off the #1 ranked team in both Class 3A polls and as well in the Sagarin rating, 65-52. And for the first time all year, you really couldn't choose who the player of the game was, as it was a collective effort for the whole team.
And Ayanna Patterson picked up 2 early fouls only 24 seconds into that game and had to sit out for 11 straight minutes after that. But the other players really stepped up. Maggie Kinsley, her senior and captain counterpart, got the team going, scoring 7 early points in that first quarter. But really, all the starters stepped up in that one. Emma Royce had a career-high 15 points and was 3 for 3 from behind the arc. And then Allie Stevens getting 8 boards, Maggie Kinsley getting 10 boards, both of them really hustling.
Emma Royce really showed out in that game Tuesday night, stepping up with Ayanna Patterson out of the basketball game. And then even Ayanna, after missing 11 minutes of play early on, still ended with a double-double. So special of a player she is. Now let's talk about last night as SAC play resumed. And with that, we saw our first of 6 girls-boys doubleheaders of the year. And Noah, both teams got much-needed wins, but for the first time in over 2 years, we got to see an atmosphere that makes Indiana high school basketball so special.
And last year was the COVID year where there's no student sections allowed, but the student section showed out last night. 2 huge wins for the Spartans in a doubleheader of SAC play. You see Patterson had a great game there, and the Spartans had 19 assists on 27 made field goals. Great teamwork and passing by the Lady Spartans. And then in the boys' game, Fletcher Lawyer led the team like he always does with 22 points. It was an off night for him. He really could not find anything, but Leeper stepped up. Andrew Leeper had a huge dunk in that one.
And even though Bishop Dwenger was making a run in the fourth quarter, Homestead was able to hang on with a technical foul ejection, getting 6 easy free throws for the Spartans, putting Bishop Dwenger away in the boys' game. Now let's look at a player in the girls' game who just had a monster game last night versus Bishop Dwenger. Ayanna Patterson, it was no surprise that she would turn on the Jets yesterday, because when it comes to consistency, AP 34 is as consistent as they come.
And she does it every single game, scoring 20 points in all, averaging a double-double this season, 25.2 points per game and 10.4 rebounds. She is so dominant, and nobody has had an answer for her.
Ayanna Patterson, an absolute beast. And oh yeah, let's not forget that last night, Ayanna almost did this. Driving to the basket, goes up for the dunk, and barely misses. But the bounce on this girl is insane. Look how close she was to putting it in, and it's getting national attention.
And so close to making history. You see a video here from overtime provided by the Locker Report. She is so close to dunking. She's getting the national recognition that she deserves on both Overtime Women's Basketball and Overtime page.
That video at almost 500,000 views on Overtime's main account, an account followed by more than 1 million people. It's so special to see Ayanna Patterson getting the recognition she deserves, but right now, she's got a game to play today. Now let's take a look at the current SAC standings on the girls' side of things, and the Spartans remain one of only 2 unbeaten teams in the SAC, making that mid-January date against Snyder loom even larger.
And Snyder and Homestead are the only 2 teams that have not lost in SAC play. The only reason why Homestead is above them because they've already played 4 conference games and handled their opponent easily in all of them, the closest one being a 20-point win against Carroll. But you take a look at the top 3, Homestead, Snyder, and Northrop, the 3 teams in the preseason poll that we expected to be in the top 3. That's exactly where we are.
The biggest surprise in the SAC this year is Southside being 1-7 overall and 1-3 in conference play, making the sectional championship game 3 years straight. And right now, it doesn't look like they're going to make it back.
And in the past 4 years, Southside had been in the top 3 of the SAC standings. Like you said, it's just really shocking to see them be 1-3 this year, a real struggle.
But that Snyder team, 2 top 5 wins in the state of Indiana to start the year. They could really be a huge threat to the Homestead Spartans. Now we're going to take a quick look at our keys to the game, starting with getting off to a fast start for Homestead. They've really got to get off to a fast start and attack the inside of the basket.
And especially with playing 3 games in 5 days and 1 last night, they are going to need to come out fast. They're going to be tired and fatigued. But if they get off to a fast start, there is no way that you can catch up to the Spartans.
Homestead, it's going to be critical for them to play quick basketball, and we'll get back to our keys to the game. But first off, we're going to send it down to our favorite sideline reporter, Nada Hook, is standing by with Coach Parker. Nada?
Thanks, Anthony. And Coach, only a few hours removed from last night's win at Dwenger, what do you hope to see out of the Spartans in the opening stages of the game today?
Well, the big thing today is make sure, I had a hard time hearing your sorry. We got to contain the basketball very well today. We're playing a quick team. They're going to get to the rim. They're not very big, so we're going to contain it, jump shots, rebound it well. And then, as always, you got to get Ayanna involved in the game on our offensive end. And if we can get her involved, then shots will open up for other people.
Thank you. Anthony, back to you.
Thank you, Nada, and thank you, Coach, for giving your insight. Homestead, they've really got to feed Ayanna Patterson the ball. It's been a strategy that works all season long. We're going to take a break here on the OPS pregame show, but when we come back, it's going to be tip-off of Homestead versus Notre Dame Academy, as well as some starting lineups. Stay tuned for some Homestead High School basketball.
What limits you? Too small, too old, insecure, broken. You have no limits. Rethink your limits.
Welcome back to Spartan Arena as we just heard an amazing performance of the national anthem by 6th grader Maddie Ankenbrook. Very, very beautiful. Now we're going to take a look at our starting lineup, starting with Notre Dame Academy.
Notre Dame Academy, they have 3 guards on their starting lineup here. The first, 5'6" junior, Katie Bissell. Second, Nina Simmons, a 5'8" freshman. Abby Bacon, a 5'8" sophomore. And then the 2 forwards, Sydney Oriens, a 5'11" senior, most likely going to match up with Ayanna Patterson. And then Dakota Smith, a 5'8" junior.
This team doesn't match up well on the height side for the Homestead Spartans as they're getting introduced. Notre Dame Academy is going to have their hands full tonight playing one of the best teams in the state of Indiana. But last time these two teams met up, Homestead making a trip over to Notre Dame Academy, lost 2 years ago. Game last year got canceled due to COVID, rescheduling it for this year. And we'll see how both these teams do. And now your starters for the Homestead Spartans as the music gets ready. Not many fans in attendance on a Saturday afternoon, but the hype is still here. First starter, Emma Royce, the sophomore who has nothing left to prove, shooting guard. And for Homestead, the point guard for the Spartans, number 20, junior in her 3rd year for the Spartans, Molly Stock. Then the other shooter / forward for Homestead, Allie Stevens, senior, captain Maggie Kinsley, and a player that needs no introduction as always now with national attention. Gucci dunk tonight, Ayanna Patterson, the absolute beast, getting the crown put on her head by Evie Bottoms. Both teams huddling together, collecting for the tip-off. Now we're going to take a look at our keys to the game for South Bend, Washington, that we couldn't see. First off, it starts with being consistent on all jump shots. They're not going to get many opportunities underneath the basket, so they really have to make all their shots.
Yes, they do. This Homestead team really swarmed the Dwenger Saints last night, and Dwenger wasn't able to make a lot of their shots, and they got killed because of that. Notre Dame Academy is going to have to make all their shots and then also contest all of Homestead's shots because Homestead's so good at knocking them down.
Here we go. They've got to be aggressive on defense, too. Forced turnovers for the Spartans, although they've played a lot cleaner basketball. Now Ayanna Patterson wins the tip-off without a doubt. She is 10-0 on the season with the tip. Homestead quickly on offense. Patterson has to dish it out, and that is a win for Notre Dame Academy. Aggressive defensive showing already for Notre Dame. Homestead just looking to get a good shot. Patterson, triple team underneath the basket. Shot, no good. And it sticks with the Homestead Spartans.
And that was a great defensive possession there by Notre Dame Academy, swarming every single time the Spartan player got the ball. But Ayanna Patterson, she's too hard to handle.
And a 3 for Allie Stevens. Gets the Homestead on the board to start. It is good to see her making shots. Open look outside, 3 ball, no good for Katie Bissell. Bissell only 5'6". Maggie Kinsley on the other side leaves a 3 ball short. Notre Dame Academy doesn't have the height advantage in this matchup. It's going to be all about playing aggressive defense. Drive to the basket, too strong for Nina Sims. Patterson alone underneath the basket, gets fouled, going up for the shot.
Notre Dame Academy is going to have a really tough task of trying to match up with Ayanna Patterson. Their tallest starter is 5'11", and Ayanna Patterson is 6'3". They're going to have to really play some good help side defense today if they want to have a chance in this one.
Notre Dame Academy's game plan is most likely going to be just don't let the ball get to Patterson. I expect a lot of zone defense out of Notre Dame, just trying to keep the ball away and out of the Spartans' hands. Homestead early 5-0 lead. Inside, no defense, but can't get the shot in the basket. Dakota Smith, 5'8" junior, and a turnover by Emma Royce. Notre Dame back on offense, looking to capitalize. Quiet crowd on a Saturday afternoon at Spartan Arena. Molly Stock gets a hand on the basketball. Ball just being passed around. Notre Dame trying to get an open shot. Homestead doing their traditional man defense that they love to do. Don't really run zone often. And so far, the defense is working. Ball on the ground and swatted away by Molly Stock, collected by Allie Stevens. Offensive side for the Spartans. Patterson gets the ISO underneath the basket. Fouled again, going up for the shot, and she's headed back to the line.
And that right there is already the second foul for Sydney Orions, the 5'11" senior and the tallest player for the Eagles. That's going to be a big problem for Notre Dame Academy.
She has the tough task of guarding Ayanna Patterson, likely going to get into some foul trouble as Patterson gets her total up to 3 points, 3 for 3 from the free-throw line. To make it 4 for 4, nothing but net. Patterson coming into the game, a 69% free throw shooter, a lot better from her 63% last year. It's an area of her game she's very much looking to improve on. Open three, not taken. Drives inside, and Ayanna Patterson fouls Abby Bacon. Foul's going to be on Allie Stevens' correction, so good news for the Spartans, even though Patterson had a hand in there on the basketball. High arcing free throw, no good for Bacon.
And on offense, the Eagles have been able to get some good looks when they're driving into the lane, but when they're passing it outside the perimeter, the Spartans are everywhere around them. The only opportunities they've got is from inside the paint and then drawing fouls, just like they did.
So far, Homestead controlling this basketball game. Royce to Kinsley underneath the basket. Misses both of her shots. And Notre Dame Academy looking to capitalize on the offensive end. Layup no good, but sent to the free throw line. Molly Stock called for the foul.
Great job there by Notre Dame Academy to drive again. We just talked about it. That's the way they've been trying to get their good opportunities, but they still haven't been able to get on the scoreboard.
First free throw good, and now Notre Dame is on the scoreboard. 7-1, Homestead leads 3 minutes into this cross-state matchup. And the second free throw, no good, rebounded by Ayanna. Underneath, Patterson double guarded, puts it in off the glass, making it look easy. Homestead leads by 8.
And on that last possession, the Eagles went into a zone defense, but Molly Stock able to find the opening in the zone defense and get it to Ayanna Patterson, where nobody is going to stop her there.
Molly Stock might be the most important player for Homestead this year as growing as a team. There's a three, good for Abby Bacon. And a timeout called by Notre Dame Academy as they'll try to figure out what to do with the Ayanna Patterson situation.
And that's the first good look that they've gotten here. As you take a look, Abby Bacon getting it to go from 3. They needed to have a shot fall, as before that they hadn't had any shots go, and their only points had been from the free throw line. They need to have some more open looks like that to get themselves back in this game.
It's going to be all about the offensive side. And Notre Dame has disrupted Homestead's offense a lot already. Couple turnovers for Homestead early to start the game. Not what you want to see if you're Coach Parker. He emphasizes on controlling the basketball so much. His number one point in the game is controlling the basketball, and that's why Molly Stock is going to be the most important player for Homestead this year.
And she definitely has been filling in for that point guard role where Grace Sullivan was last year. It's a new role for her, and she's a junior, but she's getting more experience and getting better and better at it each game.
Especially when you talk about the game versus Noblesville, Homestead's only loss. It really fell up to Molly Stock, Emma Royston, Evie Bottoms at times turning over the basketball. It's Homestead working the ball around, and Allie Stevens, welcome back. 2 for 2 from 3 to start the day. And Coach Parker's got to be loving seeing Allie Stevens get hot.
And that's a great sign for Coach Parker. If Allie Stevens is hitting threes, this team is almost unstoppable. She's had a cold streak as of late, but a good start in this one.
Look at Homestead working the ball. Patterson, who's done such a great job of passing the basketball recently, finds the wide open Allie Stevens, and you can see the relief on all of the Homestead players' face. Kinsley can't handle the pass from Stock. Other side, right side, pass stolen by Homestead's best defender, Emma Royce. Stevens open to Patterson and gets fouled. Just tries to draw herself back to the free throw line where she'll look to get even more points.
And this is already the third time that Patterson is going to be going to the line. Notre Dame Academy has no answer for her so far. She's already at 6 points.
Homestead can win this game from the free throw line. Patterson yet to miss a shot from the charity stripe. As Sydney Freem comes into the game for Maggie Kinsley, she had a career high night last night with 2 threes and 6 points total. Patterson 6 for 6 from the line with that shot falling.
So far, a great shooting performance from the line and behind the arc for the Spartans. A little over 4 minutes in this game, and Coach Parker has to love what he's seen so far with a lead already at 10.
Homestead ranked 5th in the state for good measure. A really, really talented team all around. 3 players that can shoot the 3 ball really well. And, of course, Ayanna Patterson. Working underneath the basket. Amazing possession for Nina Sims, crossing up on Emma Royce.
It's not often you see Emma Royce get crossed up, but a great job by Nina Sims to attack the paint where they've had some success today.
Coach Parker has emphasized passing the ball more, and that is exactly why. You work it around to find Ayanna Patterson, and already we are not even 6 minutes into this ball game. Patterson is in double digits.
She's picking up right where she left off last game, scoring 34 points last game and outscoring Dwenger. She's going to look to do that again today.
Ball turned over by Notre Dame Academy. Look at this passing. Open lane for Patterson. She gets the one-on-one matchup, and there's no chance that Tia Mali can guard Patterson. And a foul quickly on the ground. Again, Patterson fouled, this time by Vay Campbell. Vay Cable just coming into the game for Notre Dame Academy as they just keep trying new and new players to put on Patterson. So far, nothing working.
They're going to try to go to a zone and have more players be on the outside. You really want to keep Ayanna Patterson outside of the arc and not let her get in the paint.
Molly Stock wide open, knocks it down for 3. And I'll tell you what, when the Homestead Spartans are hot from 3, they are an unbeatable team.
They really are. Molly Stock and Allie Stevens, we talk about them so much. Emma Royce as well, all shooting 30. They're shooting 37% this season from behind the arc as a team, and they're really hard to stop when they're shooting well with Ayanna Patterson playing well.
Currently, Homestead with the most satisfying stat line. 3 for 3 from 3 as Patterson swats that ball away. Homestead's all-time leading blocker. And now she works in the paint outside the bottoms, and Homestead resets. Mid-range jumper for Allie Stevens. No good, hit out of bounds by Sydney Freem, going for the rebound. Patterson coming out of the game with 10 points for Hillary Adams. This one's already looking a lot like it could be a blowout. Best to give Patterson some rest time. Notre Dame Academy now on offense. Trying to get something. Bissell has to deliver it out to Cable. Academy passing it around. Open 3, no good for Dakota Smith. Opposite side, Molly Stock has the open layup. Way too strong. And she'll come out of the game for Emma Royst.
Right now, this team is looking really good with 3 bench players now in Sydney Freem, Hillary Adams, and Evie Bottoms. but on the defensive side, Notre Dame Academy's only gotten 2 open looks.
Sydney Freem collects her own miss and lays it back up and in. Notre Dame Academy forced to call another timeout. 21-6 Homestead lead.
And Sydney Freem doing her best Ayana Patterson impersonation, getting her own rebound and getting it to go on the second attempt. But this game is getting ugly already, and we might see the shot clock come in soon.
That is correct. There is the mercy rule in the state of Indiana. 35-point lead, and the clock continues to run starting in the second half. Only stops for free throws, timeouts, and injuries. Homestead with a 15-point lead with 53 seconds left in the first quarter.
We've already seen that new rule come in a few times. We saw it last night against Dwenger. Homestead getting a 41-point win in that one. It definitely changes up the game, as last season Homestead, you would think right now they'd be close to on pace for 100 points, but with the new mercy rule, that is not going to happen most likely.
Homestead just looks like they are on their A game, and right now it looks like they could take on any team in the state. Of course, beating the #1 team in the Sagarin ratings, huge confidence booster. Then you have to think the only team Homestead has their eye on is the most likely regional rematch versus Noblesville. We can already smell in the air how big of a game that's going to be.
And Noblesville is the #2 in Sagarin ratings right now. They very well could be #1 with the new ratings coming up after South Bend Washington losing against Homestead here.
And going back to Molly Stock being the important role, as a great drive by Vay Cable to the basket for her first 2 points of the game. A little bit of press throws off Homestead, and now a turnover saved by Notre Dame Academy. Ref blows a whistle, and they're going to call it out of bounds off of Hillary Adams. In that game versus Noblesville, the press versus Homestead really messed them up. And you see a press by Notre Dame Academy screwing up Homestead a little bit. They're still yet to adapt, and that's why Molly Stock's going to be so uber important for the Spartans with the ball handling, bringing it up on the court against Ashland Shade. 3 seconds on the shot clock. Notre Dame needs a shot, and a foul called on Emma Royst, girl that gets in foul trouble quite often.
And that's the last thing you want if you're Coach Parker. 1.3 seconds left on the clock and 30 feet out. You do not want to foul there.
Shot put up, Banks off the glass. It wouldn't have counted anyway. Homestead up with a 21-8 point lead. End of the first quarter.
What limits you? Too small, too old, insecure, broken. You have no limits. Rethink your limits.
Welcome back to Homestead High School. And there's some energy. The cheerleaders boosting up. You see Mikhail Austin getting the energy going with the music in the air. Not a large crowd. You see some empty stands behind the cheerleaders. Not much to cheer on. But it's all right. Homestead building off that cheerleader energy.
Nayana Patterson came out with great energy in that first quarter, outscoring Notre Dame Academy, and she didn't even play the last 2 minutes of it, already at 10 points in this one.
We saw her outscore Bishop Dwenger by 6 last night. We'll see if she can do the same. Nina Sims over to Abby Bacon, and she's trying to work inside on Stevens and gets blocked by Allie Stevens. Other side, Ayana Patterson lays it in, makes it look easy, uses her body to her advantage. 12 points for Patterson.
And Vay Cable was trying to stop her on that fast break, but it's 5-7 versus 6-3. Ayanna Patterson's going to win that matchup every single time.
And if Vay Cable wasn't there, it's fun to think about. You know, we all know what could have happened. Patterson just looking for another fast break opportunity. Dakota Smith to Taylor Malley. Notre Dame Academy just trying to do something in this game, try to get any form of offensive motivation.
And
They just need a three-pointer.
And to start this game, they were doing really well on the defensive side, only allowing 7 points, but at that point it was 7-0, and their offense just has not been able to find any rhythm in this one.
Some claps coming from the Homestead sideline on this defensive possession as Emma Roy strips the ball out of the hands of Abby Bacon. Stock transitioning fast as Stevens for a deep three, no good. Offensive board for Kinsley. She's trying to work it and lays it in off the glass with the spin move.
That right there is where games are won, getting those hustle plays, getting second chance points, and Notre Dame Academy can allow none of that if they want to have any chance.
Ayanna Patterson with the brutal denial. She averages 1.2 blocks per game, but tonight already won. Look at that. It says goodbye, no thank you.
The all-time leading block here at Homestead. You do not want to have any shot near her.
All-time leading blocker and all-time leading rebounder as she gets a rebound there. Emma Roy's fast break, can't collect it, tries to save it, and goes into the hands of Julia Nestor. Fast break from Notre Dame Academy. Dakota Smith on Patterson and has to reset it. Cable, Nestor, and back to Smith. Foul called on Maggie Kinsley at the top of the three-point line. Ayanna Patterson tonight, 12 points, 3 for 4 from the field, and the only one she's missed, she got her own rebound and put it back in. 6 points from the free throw line. Great showing so far out of the 6'3" wing.
And this is a stat line that you would exactly expect from her, shooting 61% from the field this season and looking even better today.
Taylor Malley has the ball stripped by Patterson. Just putting on a show tonight. Underneath, Patterson triple guarded. We've seen it all before, nothing new. Triple guarded means absolutely nothing going against Patterson.
There's no stopping Ayanna Patterson, already at 14 points, and Notre Dame Academy hasn't even scored this quarter.
Claire Landergan into the game, getting a block and out of bounds by Tia Malley. Look at Patterson. This is why she's so special. She finds that tiny little gap and takes a step through to lay it in. She truly knows the game of basketball well. Notre Dame Academy struggling so far. Dakota Smith inside, and a foul called on the floor before the shot.
Notre Dame Academy only returning one starter, one senior, and that was Sydney Oriens, and they've had a lot of struggles, a new roster trying to get everything to click, not a lot of chemistry with this team, but on the other side you see Homestead's chemistry working well.
That one senior, Sydney Oriens, out of the game right now with 2 early fouls inflicted by Patterson. So a lot of inexperience for Notre Dame Academy in this ball game. Underneath the basket, and Ayanna Patterson gets another block. 3 blocks tonight. 3 ball, good from beyond the arc. Vay Cable gets some life in the Notre Dame Academy bench.
I think Ayanna Patterson may be mad at herself. She got the block there and then started running down the court before even picking the ball up. So we take a look at it again. Ayanna Patterson getting her 3rd block, and then you see her start running down the court, and Maggie Kinsley picks up, gets a block, but then wide open 3 for Vay Cable, and she's able to capitalize on the Homestead bad defense.
Maggie Kinsley wasn't able to field that block. She's had a couple problems fielding the basketball this year, an area of her game that she's looking to work on especially. Patterson drives inside, gives it to Kinsley, her senior counterpart. Can't put the ball in the basket. Ball still on the ground. And Patterson puts it in. A little bit of conversation with the refs, and the shot's not going to count. They'll call a jump ball and a timeout called by Homestead.
Coach Parker didn't like that last possession. Looked like a lot of confusion. Players all around each other, not good ball movement. The only starter that is not out there right now is Allie Stevens, so that may be why. Just not the same normal lineup that he's used to, but still a bad possession.
Coach Parker just trying to give as many players as he can experience in the ballgame. We haven't seen Evie Bottoms play much. It's a little surprising because she is the consistent sixth man for the Lady Spartans. Just not today, as she'll remain on the bench. All Homestead starters, except for Allie Stevens, are in the game.
And I think this is one of those games already at a 16-point lead for the Spartans with 3:31 left in the second quarter, that a lot of those bench players could get a lot of playing time, have more experience going into next season, and just good opportunities for those players.
Homestead keeps possession off the jump ball. Molly Stock, wide open three, no good. A beautiful play design, and Claire Landergan fields the rebound for the Spartans. Homestead running back on offense, aggressive defense so far for Notre Dame Academy, just like the first possession. Patterson, double guarded, lays it in. We are in shock up here of the booth. We know Ayanna Patterson's a beast, but some of the shots, some of the layups she's had tonight are unbelievable.
She's making on triple and double guarded, and you got to wonder if they're going to quadruple guard her. But what she does so well when she's getting multiple people on her is find the open players. That's what she does well. She's led the team in the last 3 games in assists.
This team, this Homestead team, it just looks so disciplined at this stretch in the season than they did at the starting stretch, as Molly Stock cross-court pass to Ayanna, guess who, Patterson.
Great vision there by Molly Stock, passing it from behind the half-court line all the way down to Ayanna Patterson, and Patterson getting her total up to 18 already.
2 minutes left in the first half, as Homestead players from the bench look to check in, bring some substitutions. Driving to the basket, no good for Smith. And now Royce, too strong of a pass. Stock keeps it alive. And the possession's going to stay with Homestead as Tia Molly steps out of bounds. Look at this vision by Molly Stock across the court to a wide open Patterson.
And that's why she has filled in at that point guard role, as now 4 new players check in. Patterson, the only one staying in. This may be one of those games that she doesn't get a lot of playing time, and it feels like these last 2 or 3 games she hasn't got a lot of playing time.
Allie Stevens for 3. She's 3 for 4 tonight from beyond the arc. It is great to see her back with momentum. 75% tonight, 35% coming into the game.
And before that Noblesville game, she was shooting 50%, and after that Noblesville game, Homestead has won 4 straight, but she has been cold in all of those. But today, it's been Allie Stevens and Ayanna Patterson.
Faye Cable gets another 3, bringing her total up to a quiet 8 points. Cable, leading scorer for Notre Dame. Travel called on Ayanna Patterson. She can't believe it. We've seen this story a couple times where she's called for travel, doesn't really agree with the call. Notre Dame back on offense. Bissell, who has been pretty quiet tonight. No points for Bissell. Malley, back to Bissell.
As you mentioned, Vay Cable is the only one who's been able to score for Notre Dame Academy, having 8 of their 14 points in this one.
Hillary Adams steals the rebound, and a foul call as she's trying to get the ball away to Sydney Freem. And they're going to get that foul on Dakota Smith, her first of the night.
With a 20-point lead and only 40 seconds left in this half, Coach Parker wants to go into the half strong.
That turnover not really part of it as Dakota Smith drives in, almost gets the shot on Ayanna Patterson. Patterson trying to hurry it up, and Coach Parker wants to slow down the pace. You can hear him yelling from the sideline.
With no shot clock in Indiana, there's no reason to ever go as fast, but with 10 seconds left, you want to hold it.
Allie Stevens decides to not hold the basketball, but instead makes a three. She's hot right now. It's sizzling from beyond the arc for Allie Stevens. Deep wild three put up by Dakota Smith. No good, and Homestead with a commanding lead after one half. We're going to send it down to sideline reporter Nada DeHook, who's standing by with Coach Parker. Nada?
Thanks, Anthony. Coach, big first half for your Spartans. How would you assess your team's play so far?
Well, I'm really happy the way we're moving the ball in offense. I think we're pushing it well. Ali's shooting it well. Jan is a big factor. They don't have anyone right now that can stop her. So I think we're making the appropriate passes. We're getting good quality shots, and so far we're shooting it well. So hopefully we continue that in the second half.
Thank you. Anthony, back to you.
And I'd say Coach Parker put it the best way you possibly can. No one can stop Ayanna Patterson right now, and it's great to see Allie Stevens doing well. And this is just so special. Allie Stevens being hot means Homestead as a team is on fire.
Marco's Pizza, located at 10345 Illinois Road, inside the shops of Scott Road. Marcos specializes in pizza, subs, and more. Order online at marcos.com or by phone at 625-6800. Thank you, Marcos, for supporting the Point 91 FM and being a proud sponsor of Homestead Media's athletics coverage.
This is the OPS Halftime Report.
Welcome back to Homestead High School for the OPS Halftime Report. So far this game, all Spartans, 37-14. Homestead leads over Notre Dame Academy, and we'll take a look at our halftime stats so far. You can expect some great things from the Homestead side. 62% from the field with 37 points.
And Notre Dame Academy isn't even shooting it too poorly, shooting 45% from the field, but 62% and 5 of 7 from behind the arc is just too tough to handle. And then Homestead completely out-rebounding the Eagles 17-5.
And that is huge. 17-5, the largest margin I think that we have seen at halftime of a game so far. It's crazy to think that Notre Dame Academy has just 5 rebounds. Haven't really had many opportunities to shoot the basketball. Just so far, absolute Homestead dominance.
And they're a lot more undersized than the Spartans. Nobody is able to match up with Ayanna Patterson, and their tallest player, 5'11". Sydney Orions had 2 early fouls and had to come out of the first half. Nobody has had an answer for Ayanna Patterson.
And Orions, even when she was in the game, really couldn't figure out Ayanna Patterson because she was just picking up fouls left and right from Patterson driving into the basket. The turnover margin is in Homestead's favor for what feels like the first time this year. Homestead has done a really poor job, I'd say, of handling the basketball, but in this last stretch of 3 games, they've really picked it up and been a lot more disciplined.
They're averaging 13.4 turnovers per game, but like you said, they've really been picking it up. The team has been clicking well. Last game, they had 19 assists on 27 made field goals. The team is starting to find their stride.
They are really starting to find their stride and play some true team basketball, even with the star player. That's when you know you've got a really special basketball team, when you've got that 5-star player and you're still getting other players assists in the ball. Really special Homestead team we have this year. Might even be the best since they won state back in 2017.
And as you mentioned, the 1-star player can only take a team so far, and I think this team will go as far as Allie Stevens and Molly Stock will take them. Those two have to play well. We saw in the Noblesville game, the only player that played well was Ayanna Patterson, scoring over 20 points in that one, of course, but the other players need to step up.
We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we'll have our SAC headlines featuring some pretty interesting facts and statistics. Stay tuned for some Homestead basketball.
Rethink your limits.
Welcome back to Homestead High School and the OPS Halftime Reporters. We're going to take a look at our SAC headlines, starting with some SAC scores from last night on the girls' side. Homestead totally took care of Dwenger Carroll, controlled Concordia. Northrop barely edged out Lures, and Southside got the job done over Northside.
And Southside, Northside, we mentioned Southside earlier, a shocking team. They only have 1 win this season, and it was that game last night. And then Carroll girls winning 70-44, a big bounce-back win. They lost here by 20 points in a closer one than people expected. Northrop winning 46-38 with the new revamped team having the Jackson sisters there. They're looking a lot better, but closer than they would have liked that game.
Northrop was supposed to be a very high-powered offense. Only 46 points versus Lures doesn't really turn them in the right way. And on the boys' side, Homestead boys had a bit of a struggle against Dwenger late in the game, but got the job done. Concordia beats Carroll, a little bit surprising. Big win for Concordia. Northrop just threw up as many points as they could versus Bishop Bluers, and then Southside beats Northside.
And Carroll's really struggled. Their best player leaving from last year, Jalen Jackson, he's now at Northrop, and he had 26 points last night. But at Johnny Washington, he scored 40 points earlier this season, scored 18 last night, and they were able to get a 6-point win.
And then the boys and girls Snyder at Wayne game was postponed. We'll take a look. There's some huge games today involving SAC teams, starting with Snyder at Carmel. Homestead took care of Carmel. Carroll got killed by Carmel. This will be the time to find out where Snyder falls in the SAC standings.
And this is a game we're looking forward to now. January 14th, Snyder, Homestead here, double header, and Carmel. They're going to have a tough task as the Snyder girls team has already defeated 2 top 5 teams in Sagarin rankings this year.
And Homestead traveling down to Westfield on the boys' side. Lawrence North versus Bishop Lures. Expect Lawrence North boys probably to take care of Bishop Lures boys, but Homestead versus Westfield is a huge matchup.
And that can be a huge game. Like you said, they've got two Purdue commits in that game, Braden Smith for Westfield and Fletcher Lawyer for Homestead. Those two are going to be battling. They're going to be future teammates, but that's going to be a fun one that you're going to want to watch.
And Patterson last night, we mentioned it earlier, but she set the career rebound record at Homestead High School with 11 last night. Ayana now holds the record at Homestead High School with 818 and on her way to 1,000.
And it's going to be interesting to see if she can get to that 1,000 mark. She already has 98 rebounds on the season, only 9 games through, and it's going to be fun to watch her chase that mark.
Ayana Patterson, a special player. We're going to follow her for the rest of the season on Homestead Live and WCYT.org. When we come back from a break, it is going to be the second half of play between Homestead and Notre Dame Academy.
What limits you? Too small, too old, insecure, broken. You have no limits. Rethink your limits.
Welcome back to Homestead High School. The starters sit in a circle. Allie Stevens playing with her hair. A little bit chill of an atmosphere at Homestead High School. We'll see if the Lady Spartans can get to that 35-point lead mark, forcing Notre Dame Academy into the mercy rule. Second game in a row, Homestead looking to inflict the mercy rule.
It looks like they're well on their way, already at a 23-point lead for the Spartans, and they came out firing. Allie Stevens, 4 or 5 from behind the arc, a great start for her, and maybe it can help her going down the stretch with more confidence.
We'll see. 4 for 5 from beyond the arc, her best showing since the first game of the season versus Carmel. Notre Dame Academy on offense gets the open 3, airballed, but gets her own rebound shot. No good for Abby Bacon, and the putback for Dakota Smith, making Homestead's mercy rule task a little bit more hard.
It's not often that you see a team get 3 opportunities against Ayana Patterson and the Spartans. A lot of times they don't allow second chance points, but a lazy job by the Spartans to allow that many rebounds.
Very patient offense, no shots for 3, and now Maggie Kinsley from the corner leaves it short. Rebound, Vay Cable. Notre Dame Academy trying to cut down the lead of the Spartans in a quiet Spartan arena. Hear the ball dribbling and a few cheerleaders making noise, and a travel called on Sydney Orions, who's back into the game with foul trouble.
And she can't pick up any more fouls. Ayana Patterson had so much dominance in that first half, having 18 points, and a lot of it came when Sydney Orions came out. And then the Eagles tried to double and triple team Ayana Patterson, but that worked to no avail.
Notre Dame Academy showing a press. Homestead trying to get over their struggles of a press this year. Get the ball to Patterson. Drives to the basket. Untouched Euro step for Ayana Patterson. And for the 10th time this year in 10 games, Ayana Patterson has more than 20 points.
And that nobody has had an answer for Ayana Patterson. She's just too hard to stop in transition like she just did there.
Ball on the ground, and it's going to be a jump ball. Patterson and Cable on top of the basketball. Possession's going to stick or go with Homestead. Look at that drive to the basket by Patterson. Doesn't even look fazed by it. 20 points. Stock gets it to Stevens. So far doing a good job against the press. Something that they're going to have to practice to get over that regional hump.
It's definitely good practice for them to see more press I think Coach Parker is going to invite it from any team that brings a press against them. It can only help the Spartans. And then going into that postseason, we've mentioned it before, they struggled a lot against Noblesville Press and Ashland Shade. She's basically doing it all by herself, but the more Homestead sees it, the more comfortable they're going to get with it.
Pass stolen away by Sydney Oriens. Drive to the basket and a travel call as she was avoiding the monster block that was to come by Patterson. Look at this on the fast break. Patterson wanted all of that ball. She takes a step. Rather take a travel than get put on a poster. Patterson on the other side, just doing what she does best. Clean foot placement, lays it in off the glass.
Molly Stock continuing that role as a point guard, finding Patterson and getting it to her in good places where she can drive and find easy layups.
Ball all over the place. Dakota Smith gets it. Now inside shot off the glass. No good for Bacon. Stock, long mid-range jumper. Good for Molly Stock. Her first points of the game. Shot up, left-handed in the basket by Vay Campbell. She is in double digits with 10 points. Notre Dame Academy's leading scorer. Stevens underneath to Kinsley, gets tripped and a foul called.
So far for Notre Dame Academy, Vay Cable is the only one that has had a good day. As you see Molly Stock getting the mid-range shot to go. It's a great sign for Coach Parker, having both Molly Stock and Allie Stevens shooting the ball well. Molly Stock shooting 50% from the field and Allie Stevens shooting 66% from the field. A great sign for them.
Kinsley makes the first free throw. She's turned her season around from the free throw line after missing 5 in one game against Wayne. Has her total back up to 70%. Kinsley tonight has struggled from the field, 1 for 5. 3 points, now 4. Substitution, Sydney Freem into the game for Maggie Kinsley. It's Coach Parker trying to get Freem a little bit more comfortable in the Homestead offense. Her and Evie Bottoms, who looks like she's going to check in soon.
And a lot of times we see Sydney Freem come in for Ayanna Patterson, but Sydney Freem is a 5'9" forward. She can play strong on both sides of the floor, and if those two can play together and both be on the court, it could help the Spartans a lot.
Notre Dame Academy passing it around. Cable for a deep 3. No good, and a great play by Sydney Oriens, throwing it against the foot of Ayanna Patterson to keep possession on the offensive side for Notre Dame Academy.
And that's going to give some life for the Eagles. They're down 27 right now. A comeback is going to be very hard to mount, but right now they're just looking for some positives.
Emma Royce out of the game, no points so far. Deep 3, no good. Offensive board for Oriens, and a jump ball called. Possession staying with Notre Dame Academy, continuing this long offensive possession. All underneath the basket, and a great drive by Dakota Smith, finding the open lane.
It's not often we see Molly Stock fall for a pump fake like that, but like you said, a great job by Dakota Smith getting Molly Stock in the air and then able to drive in for easy 2.
Great vision by Patterson, finding the open Freem. Doesn't get it. Stock underneath to Patterson in the paint. Ayanna Patterson, 24 points tonight.
And Allie Stevens made that possession come there.
And a great shot by Vay Cable for her 12th point and 1 heading to the free throw line. Patterson off the glass. There's nothing that Dakota Smith could have done against Patterson. Just too much of a height mismatch, 5'8" versus 6'3".
And I was trying to say it before, but after the miss by Sydney Freem, Allie Stevens was able to get the rebound and then find Molly Stock, who is getting another assist down low to Ayanna Patterson, who now has 24 points and still outscoring the Notre Dame Academy Eagles. It seems like ever since that Carroll game where Allie Stevens sat out for a long period of time coming out of halftime, she's played a lot better just overall hustling for more rebounds and being more of a team player.
Allie Stevens, after the game versus Bishop Dwenger yesterday, was seen with an ice patch wrapped around her knee. A little bit of injury concerns with her, but I mean, if you look at her stat sheet tonight, you can tell that is not phasing her one bit. 12 points and 3 rebounds for the junior. Free throw good. 13 points for Vay Cable tonight. Stock trapped. It's the ball to Bottoms and Patterson. On the offensive end to Stevens in the corner for 3. No good. Board for Patterson underneath. And in Ayana Patterson, 26 points.
And you're not going to stop her. She just gets every single board that comes her way. She's just too much size for anyone to handle, and she hasn't been stopped all season. Even against South Bend, Washington, when it seemed like they had the height advantage, Ayana Patterson did her thing when she came back into the game.
Cable with a rare miss. Now Allie Stevens, redemption 3, no good. Notre Dame back on offense. Bacon to a red-hot Cable with over half of Notre Dame Academy's points. Pass stolen by Patterson on the fast break, and she settles for a layup. Doesn't want to go for the dunk. Round of applause from the sideline.
And every time you see Ayana Patterson on a fast break, your heart starts to beat a little bit more, thinking that she could dunk. We saw an attempt last night, and that just makes your heart beat even more.
Didn't want to go back-to-back game attempts as the deep 3 good for Dakota Smith. Patterson, 1 field goal shy of 30. Stevens underneath the basket. Layup too strong. Notre Dame looking for more points. They can't get it out of Abby Bacon. Rebound for Sydney Free. Stock on the opposite side, dribbling around in the corner. Now Patterson doesn't want the 3. Stock air balls, leaves it short, and Sydney Freem can't keep the ball alive. Notre Dame with possession on their own fast break. Mid-range, no good for Abby Bacon.
Both these teams seem like they've gone on a little bit of a cold spell, not able to find any offensive rhythm.
Stevens, pump fake 3, drives inside on herself. Does it all by herself, getting herself to the free throw line. And she'll get a chance for 2.
She's had some good looks this quarter, 2 open 3s and a layup that was shocking to see her miss, but she hasn't scored ever since coming out of the break. You just saw there 12 points, 4 of 9 shooting, now at 13 points, and those are her first points from the line.
Ayana Patterson coming out of the game with 28 points. Likely going to come back to start the 4th quarter. We'll have to wait and see. She'll get a chance to tie and maybe break her career high that she set just last night. Allie Stevens missing the 2nd free throw. Deep 3 for Cable, left short off the iron. She runs to get her own rebound, will knock it out of bounds in the process. Homestead basketball. Cable setting a 1-man press, and now here comes the 2nd with Katie Bissell. Adams trapped along the sideline, picks up the dribble, gives it to Bottoms. Homestead beating the press. Bottoms does it herself. Royce, mid-range, no good. She's still at 0 points for the night. Royce to Kinsley underneath, gets fouled in the face by Tia Malley.
It's really been a quiet night for both Maggie Kinsley and Emma Royce. Neither have been able to get a lot of looks. That was Emma Royce's first shots, and you take a look, Maggie Kinsley 1 for 5 and 2 for 2 from the line. And as you mentioned earlier, she's done a lot better job from the line. She's now 3 of 3 today and shooting 70% from the line, much better than it was earlier.
It looked like she was going to have struggles again from the free throw line in the first 3 games, but it feels like she has not missed a free throw since the 3rd game of the year versus Wayne. Notre Dame, Smith dishes it out to Bissell. And this offense has had their struggles. Diana Patterson out. They're going to look to capitalize underneath. A great run route by Sydney Oriens, getting into the open line for 2.
And anytime Ayanna Patterson comes out of the game, you have to attack the paint. The tallest player now out there is Maggie Kinsley and Sydney Freem, both 5'9". So with that lack of height there from Patterson being out, you have to attack the paint.
Kinsley to Bombs at the top of the key. Homestead looking to hold for the last shot again. Bottoms underneath to Freem off the paint of the glass, that left side of the white square. 2 seconds left. Smith takes a 3 to end the third quarter. No good. Homestead leads at the end of 3 quarters, 56 to 27.
You don't plan on getting an injury, so why should you plan ahead to care for one? At OrthoStat, you don't have to. Whether you get hurt on the job or on the field, or if you're experiencing sudden, localized pain, we fix the unexpected. Our walk-in clinics provide emergency access to a full range of diagnostic, non-surgical, and surgical treatments. And the best part is, there's never an appointment or referral needed. So you can get in, get out, and get going. OrthoStat is recognized by Anthem and other insurance plans as an alternative to the ER.
Welcome back to Homestead High School as we are transitioning into the fourth quarter, and it looks like Ayanna Patterson is going to be coming back into the game to possibly set a new season high.
And she got her season high last night, 34 points, and she's picking up right where she left off, 6 of 6 from the line and 11 of 12 from the field. She's only attempted 2-pointers, but she's only had 1 miss, and that was her very first shot of the game. So she's made 11 straight from the field. If you add those free throws, she's made 17 shots in a row.
You know, she doesn't attempt 3-pointers very often, has attempted 3 this year, made 2 of them though. She only attempted them if there is no one within a 100-meter radius of her, because she's really a player. She's labeled as a wing. She likes to attack the basket, and she is really, really good at that. AP 34, 1 field goal shy, and she'll get her attempt for 30 and doesn't take it. Stock again to Patterson, continuing to pass it away. Claire Landergan for 3, no good, leaves it short. Transition for Notre Dame Academy. Open 3 for Oriens, no good. And the offensive board for Cable gets fouled by Emma Royst on the shot, headed to the free throw line to try to get her 14th and 15th point.
Great job by Cable, the only player who's had a good day for the Eagles at 13, and she just grabbed it right out of Molly Stock's hands. Molly Stock has to be stronger and grab those boards. Right now it's a 29-point game, so it doesn't matter as much in this one, but in more important games, it's going to be really important to get those boards and not allow second chance points.
Molly Stock, not the biggest rebounder for the Spartans, only averaging 1.9 per game. Cable's second free throw, good. 14 points for Vay Cable tonight, half of Notre Dame Academy's total. Stock down low to Emma Royst, no good. And back in the hands of Notre Dame Academy. Homestead not able to get to the mercy rule quite yet. Cable for the Oriens. Back to Cable, trying to drive it inside. Oriens passing the ball all around.
And it still looks like neither of these teams are really able to set into their offense this half. The third quarter was very sloppy. Neither team able to score too much.
Ayanna Patterson denies Oriens, Emma Royce drives to the basket. No good, almost rebounded by Patterson. Can't hold on to the basketball. Orion drives inside, lays it up, no good. Offensive board for Cable and gets fouled by Maggie Kinsley.
Maggie Kinsley did a great job on that first time that they were coming down the lane, keeping her hands up. As you see, Ayanna Patterson just hit it right into Emma Royce's face, but the Spartans come away, and that's the fourth block of the Spartans' night. Ayanna Patterson, that's her fourth block of this game. But Maggie Kinsley, when the Eagles were coming down in transition, she did a great job to keep her hands up and not draw the initial foul, but then not able to grab the board and getting the foul called on her on the second attempt.
Coach Parker not happy with the inconsistencies. Did a great job the first time staying tall, hands in the air, avoiding the foul. You see in the disappointed parent stance, arms crossed. Coach Parker, I mean, you have to be satisfied with your team with a 28-point lead, but so far Homestead hasn't been able to force the mercy rule, and Patterson hasn't really had a chance to touch the basketball much in this half. Ball hit out of bounds by Tia Malley. And Allie Stevens checking back into the game for the Spartans. Emma Royce coming out of the game, 2 fouls, 0 points. Not the best night we've seen out of the sophomore.
She's really been struggling, 0 for 3 from the field today and only 2 rebounds. It's not been a good day for her, but her last 2 games have made up for that.
Something Coach Parker does such a great job of is coaching up till the last minute. You can hear him barking out orders. Patterson grabs the rebound for 30 and 1, sliding all the way to the wall. Ayanna Patterson back-to-back 30-point games as she's headed to add to the total.
And Maggie Kinsley misses the initial shot, but Ayanna Patterson towering over everyone else and able to get the basket to go with all the contact. 30 points and outscoring Notre Dame Academy.
All by herself, free throw good, 31. 8 rebounds for Patterson. She has 6 double-doubles this year. Looking to make it 7 with only 2 more rebounds. 3-point shot, no good. Patterson can't collect the rebound. Another 3, and that goes in the basket for Nina Sims. And the Academy has tied up with Patterson.
And Nina Sims is the freshman starter on this team, so a lot of potential for this team. They only have 1 returning senior, and that's Sydney Orient. So the future looks bright for this team, but right now it's too tough of a task.
It's too tough a task, but then again, you have to remember that this Notre Dame Academy team is facing off against the 5th best team in the best high school basketball state in the country. It's hard. It's a difficult task. And then, of course, they're going against the UConn commit, Ayanna Patterson. There's not much you can do. This is not a traditional game Notre Dame Academy would regularly play. So not too many concerns for this talented team.
It's very early in the season for them also. They've only had 2 games up to this point and won both of those. But coming over to Indiana, long drive, and an even longer bus drive back.
Maggie Kinsley chucks the pass in between the hands of Allie Stevens. Sloppy basketball that Coach Parker isn't very happy with so far. Notre Dame Academy back on offense, down 26 with just over 5 minutes left. Dakota Smith working on Molly Stock, who's had a pretty good traditional defensive game. Smith underneath, can't put it in off the glass. Now Stock on offense underneath to Patterson for 33. No good. Kinsley with the offensive rebound. Dishes it out. Allie Stevens, no good shot. Patterson with the rebound, and Allie Stevens is fouled.
What a great overall team play by the Spartans. Everyone getting involved on that one. Ayanna Patterson eventually saving it, and Allie Stevens going to the line. And she's 4 of 10 from the field today, 4 of 8 from behind the arc. 13 points. It's been a great game for her and her second best, other than starting the season with 20 points against Carmel.
That game against Carmel looked amazing for Allie Stevens, really a bright spot. And it just tells everybody that's watching Allie Stevens that she has the talent to score 20 in a game, that she has the talent to be above a 50% three-point shooter. And today, we've really seen that come back to light.
And she's surprisingly the second leading scorer on this team after all of her struggles, averaging 10.4 points per game. And of course, the Spartans are led by Ayanna Patterson, 25.2. But if Allie Stevens can get above a 15-point per game mark, this team is going to be really dangerous.
Patterson staying in the game with a recent substitution. Just one more rebound needed for a double-double. She misses the block shot. No good for Sims. Molly Stock, deep three, good. 8 points on the day for Molly Stock. Another three. 2 for 4 for the day overall. 3. Rebounded by Kinsley. Homestead back on offense, taking down the clock, and Molly Stock dribbles the ball out of bounds, turning it back over to Notre Dame Academy.
Gotta wonder how much longer these starters stay in. It's a 31-point lead as we take a look at Molly Stock. Such a pure stroke, getting it to go from behind the arc. And on the season, she's 47% from 3, the highest of any player on this team.
Notre Dame Academy has a lot of their non-starters in the game as Sydney Freem and Hillary Adams walk up to the bench. Deep three underneath and in the basket for Nina Sims. She has double-digit 10 points. Kinsley takes the three herself, misses it, and rebounded by Ayanna Patterson for the double-double and 33 points with the putback. Turnover by Notre Dame Academy and a chance for the substitutions to come in. Ayanna Patterson, Molly Stock, and Allie Stevens. The big three for the Spartans check out of the game. Back-to-back 30-point games for Molly Stock. And now here come the rest of the substitutions. Non-starters all coming in. Brooklyn Freem in for Maggie Kinsley. And all non-starters overall in for the Homestead Spartans.
Another great game for Ayanna Patterson, 33 points and 10 rebounds. And she has half the team's points so far. Just complete dominance, only 2 missed shots overall.
We'll see how the bench does for the Spartans with 3 whole minutes left to play. For the bench to work with, a lot of chance to get practice. 30-point lead for the Spartans. Now a 3 for Claire. Landergan puts it in. Drains the 3, and now Homestead 2 points away from getting their goal of the Mercy Rule.
Claire Landergan has really struggled all year, shooting 27% from 3. This game, she's 1 of 2 and getting better.
Deep 3, no good for Sims. Another 3 put back, left short. Brooklyn Freem gets the rebound, and Hillary Adams to bring it up. Bottoms to the younger Freem. Out to the older Freem at the top. Homestead doing a lot of pass work. Evie Bottoms wide open. 3 from the passing. Shot cannot fall. Final minutes of today's competition. Homestead with a really strong performance, but a promising look from a couple players out of Notre Dame Academy as Dakota Smith creeps that shot across the rim. And a timeout called by Coach Parker to bring his last player on the roster into the game for Evie Bottoms.
Now this point in the game, up 33. The Mercy Rule won't even matter too much if they get their 35-point lead. But just it's time for more experience for younger players and bench players. There are 2 juniors out, 1 sophomore, and 2 freshmen on the court right now. Obviously a younger lineup, but great to get them a whole minute.
A young lineup for both teams as Claire Landergan plays it in, and the Mercy Rule is put into effect, tying her season high with 5 points. All of Notre Dame Academy's starters are out of the game. They're also getting some young players opportunities. Tia Malley, who has had a lot of playing time this game, pretty quiet, on the scoring end, only 3 points. Remains the most experienced player in the game, the sophomore. And an over and back called on Katie Bissell, trying to save it. And the clock stops despite the mercy rule being in effect. I don't think the referee's pretty much saying that it shouldn't matter too much. 40 seconds left. Hillary Adams crosses half court. Pass unclean to Bissell. And on the other side, an unclean pass. Snai Sandlin tries to save the basketball, touches it with her fingertips, stays with Notre Dame Academy.
And that just shows a little bit of the inexperience. Should let that one go, but nobody is going to care too much about that with such a big lead and only 30 seconds left. But a great performance on both sides of the floor by the Spartans, only allowing 36 points. There's still 20 seconds left, but a great defensive performance by them. Then on the offensive side, Ayanna Patterson and Allie Stevens combining for 48 of the 71 points.
Hillary Adams keeps the possession alive, and with under 10 seconds, Homestead likely just going to hold the basketball and dribble it out. Claire Landergan at the top, dribbles it over to the corner, tosses it to the ref, and the Homestead Spartans win by 35, 71 to 36.
Another great win, making this win streak 5 games in a row now for the Spartans. They're hitting their stride, and they're going to be looking to continue that going into more and more play in their conference.
Great showings out of Allie Stevens and Ayanna Patterson on the scoring end. Stevens looking hot again for 3, and then Ayanna Patterson, another double-double. She averages 1, and she'll continue to get 1. And we're going to send it down to Nada DeHook, who's standing by with that special player, Ayanna Patterson.
Thanks, Anthony. Ayanna, big win today for Homestead over Notre Dame Academy. Talk about what your team did well today.
As a team, we just played together, continuing our intensity from games previous this week. I feel like we played hard and played together.
Yeah, this team has been with since Thanksgiving. Do you think the Spartans are starting to hit their side?
Yes, we definitely start hitting our upside towards the main part of our season, which was really good for us. So hopefully we continue that going upstream. It feels great.
Yeah, another double-double for you today. Do you feel like you're playing the best basketball ever?
I feel like I'm playing pretty good basketball, but there's still more to come. So.
The guys calling the game are asking me, do you think you're going to do a slam dunk this year?
Yes, hopefully I can get one at home. This is my home gym, so I should go in here.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Ayanna. Anthony, back to you.
And thank you, Ayanna, for saying you're going to take it at home. We will all appreciate that, getting the slam dunk here at the home gym. Had an opportunity tonight to throw it down. Didn't take it. Easy 2 points, respectable. 33 points. You can't do anything except respect Ayanna Patterson with the night she had tonight.
And back-to-back 30-point games. You take a look at the stats there. 59% from the field for the Spartans. It's going to be so hard for any team matching up against that. And the Eagles only shot 36% from the field. Homestead out-rebounding Notre Dame Academy 36-16, a huge margin. And then their turnovers, they're right at the normal pace, 13.4 they were averaging going into this game, 13 in this one.
Not a good look for the turnover margin, something Coach Barker continuously says before every single game and every single interview. They have to handle the ball well. They have to pass the ball well. They can't afford to turn over the basketball. And tonight, although the 35-point win still turned it over quite a few times, definitely going to look to continue that team basketball and that more controlled style of play.
And their chemistry has been looking really good, especially in this one. Molly Stock stepping into that point guard role a lot. She had a lot of good passes and assists. Some of them didn't get in the basket, but still stepping into that role. And Allie Stevens, Ayanna Patterson's the 2 stars of this one.
And with that, we're going to close out today's live stream. Thank you for watching the game today. The final score, 71-36. On behalf of Homestead Live crew, including producer Caleb Wood, switcher Trevor Newhouse, our 3 camera operator, silent reporter Nada DeHook, and color commentator Noah Lentz, I'm Anthony Gary signing off. Catch us for the next Homestead Live broadcast this Friday for the first home SAC doubleheader against Bishop Lewis. Have a lovely weekend and a splendid day.